Alright, so Crump had broke the story that the force reset triggers are now machine guns. Now, I'm not saying I agree with it, or I believe they should be machine guns or anything like that. Just the fact that, hey, you get caught one of these, you're going to federal prison. And somehow or another, a bunch of people decided that, one, that's not true, that's some sort of myth or conspiracy theory, and then two, bump stocks are now legal. I don't know exactly how this came to be, but yes, even in my comment section. So I asked Crump, hey, can you do an official video, are bump stocks legal or not? He does the video, and even in that comment section, people are still just failing to understand the gravity of the situation with force reset triggers and bump stocks. Now, this may be some sort of plan by the company. I don't know. And if it is, I can't guess at their motivations, because I also heard some other theories that they knew about this for a long time. Like they had the letter for a couple of weeks before the story broke. Is that or is that not true? I don't know. If it is, what is their motivations behind it? I can't tell you, other than it kind of seems like they're trying to get some sort of non-mass compliance going to attack this, which I can see the logic behind that, because that's how we got rid of prohibition. And today's video was actually going to be going over exactly why bump stocks are still illegal, and you will go straight to federal prison for possessing one of those. And do not dig those up out of your field, because you will definitely have a bad time, especially if you get caught using one publicly. But then 2AADU beat me to the video by like 8 hours, and he made that topic his bitch. Like, seriously. Like, I'm not even going to cover it. I'll just put a link in this description to his video. He nails that thing right out of the park. So, but it brought up another interesting topic. Why is the bump stock case so incredibly important? What the hell does that have to do with anything? Why should you even care? Well, the bump stock case isn't necessarily about bump stocks. What the bump stock case is about is Chevron difference. So what that is, now this is a little bit before my time, so I don't know how the world operated before it, but that's what gives bureaucrats power. Back in 1984, and from what I understand, Chevron difference was made out of good intention, but as we all know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. There was an argument whether manufacturing plants were considered a stationary unit themselves, like the whole entire plant, or if each individual smokestack was a stationary unit. So the question was, does the plant itself have to meet the requirements, or does each individual stack have to meet the requirements? Because if each individual stack has to meet the requirements, now again, I wasn't alive back then, so I don't know the ins and outs of the argument, it would basically make it so no new oil refineries could get built, or if they could, it would raise the cost of fuel so incredibly high, it would just simply be unaffordable. So they were arguing, is this an umbrella over the entire plant and that needs to be considered as a whole, or is each individual stack, it's each individual unit, and that's what needs to be considered. And it was, I believe, the EPA, Chevron, and a bunch of other stuff against some environmental agency that doesn't believe in fuel and wanted fuel gone. So it went all the way through the courts, and basically it was awarded Chevron difference, and basically that's what gave bureaucrats power. Chevron difference, like in that particular case, was like, hey, the agency that controls it, the EPA, has the power to make changes as they see fit, and it becomes law, and there's nothing you can do about it. And so that's where it all starts. Well, as we know, other agencies were formed, like the ATF, the DOT, again, the EPA, and they've used this power and abused the living shit out of it. So bump stock, that case isn't going after bump stocks because we'd never win that. What that case is attacking is Chevron difference. So they are trying to get rid of Chevron difference. This way, instead of bureaucrats, such as the ATF or the DOT, just sitting behind an office can currently interpret laws however the hell they want. as long as it has to do with their agency and it becomes the law of the land. That's the way it is. You can't do anything about it. If they say it, it is law. And they're going after that, trying to stop that from happening. Diesels, they get this off of what the DOT and the EPA, I think, are together on this one, with DEP. Instead of going in front of Congress and showing like, hey, this is what it costs to manufacture DEP, this is the pollution that's produced manufacturing DEP, this is the pollution that's created making the packaging, this is the pollution that's created for the box, this is the pollution that's created for making all those extra parts that go on my truck, this is how it affects my truck's fuel economy, so I'm creating this amount of pollution. Then this is the garbage resulted after creating DEP, like here's the huge pile. So am I creating more or less pollution by forcing diesels to run DEP? That's the question. However, it doesn't go in front of Congress. It isn't lawyers showing the evidence like, hey, so I don't know which one is which because obviously it didn't go in front of Congress. We don't know. The EPA and the DOT decided, hey, no, you create less pollution by using DEP. Now, is that just that particular truck versus a truck not running DEP, not counting all the pollution created in the formation of DEP? I don't know. Never went in front of Congress. The way it should have went is, hey, we want to force diesel truck drivers to run DEP, so they take that to Congress to try to get the law that they have to run DEP, and then the people opposed to it build their case like, hey, you know, this is the amount of pollution created to create DEP, put DEP on the vehicle, so this amount of pollution is greater or smaller than the amount of pollution that is the damn diesel truck running DEP in itself. But that don't happen because of Chevron difference. The DOT and the EPA has power. They're like, hey, we want to create a law that says diesel trucks have to run DEP, so they're like, boom. That's it. That's all they have to do. Not challenged, nothing like that. If the ATF is like, hey, we want to make this flat piece of metal that in no way, shape, or form even fits the definition of a firearm, a machine gun, all we have to do is go, boom. And it is so. It is now a machine gun. If we want to make the force reset trigger a machine gun, it's as simple as a stroke of a pen. That's it. Literally overnight, they have created law that you have to abide by. I mean, I'm not a life coach here, and I'm not telling you how you should live your life. Whether or not you abide by their laws, well, you know, that's your own decision. That's not on me. The point is, with their stroke of the pen, should you get caught not doing exactly what they say, you now go to 10 years in federal pound-me-the-ass prison, and you get charged $250,000 in fines. That's a problem. Literally, they can do anything, basically firearm related, make it legal or not legal, with nothing more than a stroke of a pen. It's not challenged. It's not looking at like, okay, so if we do this, and it creates this many criminals, is the law itself more dangerous than not making the law? So if we don't make the law, how many criminals are there? How many people are potentially going to get hurt, etc., 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 etc.? You add that up and minus it off of, okay, if we make this law and we create this many new criminals, this many people are going to get hurt in raids, you know, this many people's lives are going to be destroyed. Is or is not the law more dangerous than the thing you're trying to, like, make disappear with law? So that's what the bump stock case is fighting. They are going after Chevron difference. Now, it's barely up the ladder. I don't understand exactly how people are getting confused that bump stocks are illegal. Like, if I made a video and I said bump stocks were legal and then I found out they weren't and found out the significance behind it, I would instantly take that video down, put a correction in that video, maybe delete that section out, or upload a new video with a correction in it. Because up the ladder, bump stocks went to court, the 6th Circuit. They won there. Now, immediately a stay got put on it, like was expected. Now, the next step is, I always pronounce this wrong, an en banc trial. Should they win there, which we need them to, well, then it's going to go up to the next run, which I believe is the Supreme Court. Is there another? I can't remember if there's another step before that. Again, 280 just knocks that video right out of the park. I encourage you to go watch that if you're very curious on this topic. The point is, when it gets to the Supreme Court, because so many of them hate Chevron deference, because it not only like pulls away a huge section of their power and stuff that they should have their fingers in when it comes to law, and it gives that power straight up to bureaucrats who may or may not have any legal training whatsoever. Literally, I don't know if you've seen my ATF video, but like their training is so inadequate for the job they're doing, and yet they're making laws that give people power to kick in their door at 5 a.m. with deadly force and kill people. So it gives them power, and it takes away a lot of the teeth from Supreme Court, which a lot of Supreme Court judges don't like Chevron deference. So if it makes it to Supreme Court, there's a good chance that it's going to win. And that would change everything. And I mean that, like everything from the DOT to the ATF to everything would change should case precedents say that Chevron deference does not matter. And it shouldn't. Not when people's lives and criminal cases are on the line. So then let's pretend the ATF wants to make rare breed triggers illegal. They would have to put a case together, involve time, resources, lawyers, just an incredible amount of work. And they would have to go in front of the Supreme Court, or whatever court. Could you go direct? I don't know if you could go directly in front of the Supreme Court or not. The point is, they would have to put their case together, and then the people opposed to it would put their case together. It would be heard in a courtroom, before anybody's made a felon overnight, without even knowing about it. It would be brought in front of a courtroom. Both sides would go against each other, and hopefully people of an intelligence, at least a decent IQ, now we're getting into a whole court-appointed judges, but the point is, it would be brought up in front of people. It would be a public thing. People weigh against it. You'd get public opinion plopped into the center of all of this shit, and then it would be decided by a court system whether or not this trigger system is illegal. Is that good or is that bad? Well, that prevents them just from writing on a piece of paper in the middle of the night and at 12:01 on this date, without anybody knowing, having any chance to defend against it. I believe they sold 50,000 triggers. 50,000 people are now currently a felon. It's up to them to try to weasel their way out of becoming a felon. Sorry, camera battery died, but it's probably for the better because you just lost about 10 minutes of ranting. But the point I was trying to make is right now, if the ATF wants something to be illegal, it is so. Without being challenged, nothing. So, as this bump stock case progresses and it gets all the way up to Supreme Court, which we're hoping it does, what they rule on this case will change everything forever. If they lose this case, that guarantees or reinforces that companies like the ATF, DOT, EPA can say something and it is so. Even if they change their mind, they could say, this is legal one day, say it's not legal the next, say it's legal the next day, and that's a problem because people don't understand the law, especially around firearms, because they change so frequently. Unless you are following it like point by point, there's a good chance that you're going to unintentionally put yourself into a position where you're facing federal charges, and that is a problem. Say we win this case and Chevron deference is gone. There's case precedents that Chevron deference no longer matters. That is going to change everything. Regardless, whether we win or lose on Chevron deference, the country as we know it will change significantly. Because bureaucrats will either get reinforced power or their power is going to be stripped away. If their power is stripped away, basically everything the ATF has added on the 34 Gun Control Act and the 68. Everything they have added on, all opinions they have formed around those two laws, because that's the whole thing the ATF is based around, will be gone. And now they need to take their opinion, whatever opinion it might be, now bring it up in front of a court system. Then they're going to be challenged. The two sides are going to go against each other, and hopefully we'll come out to the best conclusion and the best law around something different. All of a sudden now everything will be like, I'm serious, like everything will change. Like all their little definitions of machine guns will be gone, and we'll have to start back over from scratch, and everything will have to be brought back in front of a court system. And we'll be able to challenge everything that's out there. Like, they will lose their power. It will be gone. So that's why this case for the bump stocks is so incredibly important, and you should follow it. Because whatever the outcome is of this, changes America forever. Think of all the stupid little like 922R and, oh my god, open bolt pistols and open bolt semi-automatic firearms, bump stocks, different trigger systems. Like the 34 and the 68 laws, they're pretty vague. All that would have to be rehashed out. So yeah, pray we win this. Especially if any of these agencies affect your life. Any of those little bureaucratic agencies that literally make laws because somebody of political power or somebody of money decides they want to do a political move, so they give a little, non-taxable donation to this particular bureaucratic agency, and they make a law in that person's behalf because they just got a couple $1 million to do so. Everything changes on the outcome of this particular case. Anyway, definitely check out Crump's channel. Great information out there. If you're curious about following the bump stock thing, check out AmmoLand. If you want an up-to-date video right now of what's going on with the bump stocks, check out 2AEDU. Thank you for watching. Like the support channel, got my Patreon. I also got affiliate links in the description down below. Just by clicking on those links, even if you don't purchase what that particular link is for, just clicking on that and then doing the Amazon shopping you're going to do anyway, I get a little kickback for it because you came there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.